Hey guys, we're looking at big aircraft again this week and going back and looking at another one of Hasegawa's big 32nd scale Focke-Wulf 190s, this time the D9 model. Let's open her on up and take a look. So right away, we're going to start with the clear parts on this one. You have two different styles of canopies for two different time periods. All of the clear parts on this kit are fantastically done. The detailing is quite nice. Hopefully this will show up well on camera. I'm trying to play both with light and just making sure it's going to stay in focus. But no, they did a very good job on everything, even down to the little, oops, if I don't drop it, the gun unsights. Yeah, very nice. Continuing on, next sprue. We've got a lot of the components that are going to go into the engine bay, some of which will be visible through the main gear bay, which is also fantastically rendered. Hasegawa did a very nice job detailing this gear bay. You know, it's always nice when they make it so that you don't have to do anything else. You can just paint it up and throw it together. But as I was saying, detailed components for engine bay area which are adequate. Continuing on, we've got our two tail halves, which has a very nice sturdy support that'll plug into the main fuselage. I do like that they gave you more than enough that when you get it together, it should hold without any issues. So that's a very, very big plus. Surface detailing is typical Hasegawa. All over sits panel lines. Just very nicely done. And hopefully this is showing up on camera. So next up, we've got our main body sprues for our fuselage, cockpit, and various other components, including our propeller blades. We also have a very nicely rendered cowling. Thankfully, they did not include the machine gun barrels attached, so you can have to add those in, or alternatively, if you want to source aftermarket ones, you do have that option. So by doing it this way, that was another smart design choice on Hasegawa's part. Cockpit details are a little meh. They're not the greatest. Again, hopefully this is focusing and showing up on camera. But the dials and all the gauges really just, for the scale, they definitely could be better. I would say cockpit, if you're going to spend any money, would be the area you might want to invest a few bucks in. Beyond this, all the different components that go into building up the engine as well as the fuselage are very nicely rendered. All the detail has been captured quite nicely. So continuing on, next up we've got our wing halves. And now this does give you a good size of just how big this kit will be once you get her built up. Again, much the same on detailing. Strange enough, they did leave these panels left out. I'm not sure exactly why. There's nothing really in instructions to say why they'd leave it off, but it is what it is. You do get a little bit of detailing here in the flap bays, which is quite nice. Moving on, next up we've got our sprue containing our pilot figure, which is fantastically rendered, starting with the lower body, parachute, head, and hopefully this will focus and come up. And yeah, very nice pilot figure. I would say if you don't use it here, I would say save it. Keep it somewhere where you know it is so that you can use it later, as it's very nicely done. Another area where I would say you might want to spend a few bucks is on the exhausts. Fortunately, they're closed up, and given that they're oval shaped. It will be a bit of a bear to open those up. Beyond that, we've got our landing gear, various other odds and end components, as well as our side panels, which, again, not the best. Moving on, we got our last sprue. It's got all of our control surfaces, our flaps, and shows do them in an odd way with these attachment pins. Granted, they're very nice and large so that they'll have plenty of surface to grab when you install them. But that's a bit of a catch-22, as getting those off and cleaned up if you want to do them flushed will be a lot harder. You've got two backrest options, two different canopies. Very nicely done cockpit tub, seat, and obviously our landing gear doors. So let's take a look now at the decals once we get all this back in. Given several marking options, two from JV44 and another from a different group. Obviously, you get the white bandings for the red underside. Beyond that, all whites, all the colors are nicely in register. An overall typical quality you'd expect from a Hasegawa kit, especially in 30-second scale. Now, moving on to the instructions. Much like all aircraft kits, you start off in the cockpit and build out from there. And despite its size and the amount of detail you have, it's pretty straightforward as far as the build sequence goes. Now, there's nothing that I would say you're going to get hung up on. Some of it will just take some time to do, as it's just going to be time consuming, unfortunately. Especially here, building up the engine bay, that will take a little bit of time, as unfortunately that is a bit of a catch-22. But once you get through there, it's pretty much going to fall together, as you're down to just the fuselage and wing halves, basically, and yeah. Now, as I said, you got three different marking options, two from JV44 and another from a different group. Now, obviously, they do include decals for doing the flaps, since you can position them, but that will be a real pain to do and get it done right. As again, this is one of those things where it's almost worth it, I would say, just to do the flaps up, just to keep things simple and not cause a massive headache, as trying to align everything and keep it straight is going to be a bear. So that is something that will probably cause some headaches, but it's a manageable headache. So overall, I mean, this is a fantastic little kit. I mean, they packs a lot of detail, and if you're interested in big scale German aircraft, this is definitely one that's got to be on your list. Now, it's not cheap. It's last I saw, it's in the $60 plus range, so that is something to be aware of. So if you can find it on sale, I would say definitely snag it. It is definitely worth your money to get. So that was a look at Hasegawa's 1/32 scale Focke-Wulf 190D-9. Great kit, though a bit pricey. So until next time.